Okay, people. So now it's 5:45 in the morning, March 1st. I didn't wash my face before I went to sleep. You're supposed to wash your face before you go to sleep when you wear makeup. Anyway, for those in doubt, you see that? That's Uncle John's blind man's card. That verifies that we're talking about a blind man here. Okay? So, since the judge pointed out that I'm operating with a old Criminal Code of Canada, it only costs $60 to upgrade it to 2018. To which there is new legislation in there, new acts, new laws, where it directly relates to assisted suicide in terms of people wanting to die and they have professional help to help them do it. Kind of like Joan. Shut off the IV. Just shut off the IV, people. That's all it takes. Doesn't take much. So there's legislation around that in the new code. So, outside of that, probably everything that I've written in terms of this stuff, in reference to the Criminal Code of Canada, still is probably applicable. But of course, I'd cross-reference and double make sure that everything is correct. The other thing I want to point out, under the Evidence Act, right, you can see it right there, it says Evidence Act, right? Section 17, right there, can you see it? It says, a witness who is unable to speak. A witness who is unable to speak may give his or her evidence in any other matter that is intelligible. Like I said, I went into court with Uncle John's official ID. The other thing is, I'm not surprised what the judge did in terms of when one door closes, another door opens, right? Because I was already prepared. Because under this act, it says, the Crown Counsel Act, Section 2D, to advise the government on all criminal law matters. In other words, it's the court's responsibility to inform the government of criminal activity. Right, this is what I went to court with yesterday. I never got to mention that, though. And then 4C, responsibilities of Crown Counsel, which is a prosecutor, technically, that works for the government. Right? Whereas, when the judge yesterday said that it's not a civil matter, it's a criminal matter, it's a different jurisdiction, it's a different court, this is what he was referring to, was the Crown Counsel Act. Anyway, 4, responsibilities of Crown Counsel, C, right, I circled off the C there, you can see, right, supervise prosecutions of offenses that are being initiated or conducted by individuals who are not Crown Counsel, and, in other words, I'm not Crown Counsel, but I came in with allegations of infractions under the Criminal Code of Canada through an employee group that's being managed by a health authority for a particular region, and therefore it becomes the health authority's responsibility to manage its employees. Which is civil, but because I toted this, in all those legislative acts, right? It was just pass the buck, close the door, right? You know, just move it along kind of thing. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it, right? Supervise prosecutions of offense that are being initiated or conducted by individuals who are not Crown Counsel, and if the interests of justice required, to intervene and to conduct those prosecutions. This is why I say, under this, what I wrote to the judge, through their acts, there is a section there that allows the Attorney General to intervene at the judge's request. Because the judge could have taken total control of that whole situation, and instead of sending me to the cops, he could have sent Fraser Health to the cops. Right? And considering the circumstances, the cops are going to listen more to Fraser Health than they would to me. Right? So it just makes my job harder. That's all. But it falls in line with the order that the judge signed on, in terms of, you know, don't pursue the matter of the civil suit, take it to a criminal matter. Right? And then let those chips fall where they may be, where under the circumstances I'm not any more trustful of that than I am with what's been going on. But thanks to Andrew, I have things I can send in the mail now. Right? So, you know, so that the people get the correct information. Obviously, I'm going to proofread it, make sure there's nothing in there outside of Justice Bowden's falsified transcript to be, you know, untrue in there, right? Alright, so once I get a chance to fully go through it, which won't take me very long, I don't think, and then that's one envelope in the mail, right? Now, where I send it to and to who I send it to remains to be seen, but I'm going to send it to somebody. And then, hopefully, like I said, as one door closes, another door opens, right? Other than that, I'm sitting here trying to read this stuff that Andrew gave me, right? And I read the Gill case, right? Where the fella, I'm not quite sure. I think I'd have to probably go into the case file and actually read it a bit more to fully understand what went on. But he was a person who had a business, home care of some kind of home care business, and I don't know, I guess he had employees or something, I don't know. Anyway, long story short, he lost his case or something, and then he wanted, because he had to go bankrupt with his company, he was only left with $250 or so on his Canada pension, and that was it. He had no income. His income was $250 a month, and there was an $8,000 dispute in terms of who filed it. Did he file it? He filed it. He wanted what I wanted was to be able to proceed forward, right, with the case without having to pay all the added costs to it, right? Person in person for the appellant, AMS Home Care Incorp. Right, home care. So he was somehow involved with something to do with home care. And then counsel for the respondents, and then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals. Counsel for TSX Venture Exchange. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's like a company that employed those people. So anyway, he lost. Right? Not quite sure how it applies to my case. Again, you know, in my mind, Uncle John should be treated as an individual and not compared to unrelated cases that I think it was page 5, number 25, that they were making reference to in court, the judge and the lawyer, because again, they were on a whole different level in terms of talking their court language. And I'm like, with my glasses, trying to figure out exactly where we are, right? 25. All I can gather from this notice of appeal is that Mr. Gill believes the Chambers judge should have found the respondents guilty of various offenses under the criminal code. However, this was a civil proceeding, not a criminal trial. As such, Mr. Gill's appeal is bound to fail, in that it identifies no legal basis for an appeal. Word games. Right? Because it was a civil proceeding, people. This happened to a family, right? Again, it wasn't John and I, it was John and his immediate family, who included myself, right? But he had an immediate family, and it was the health authority's responsibility to manage its employees, right? It's not my responsibility to take it to the cops, especially after 3 years of talking about it on YouTube. Now I'm taking it to the cops. Cops already know about it, people. Right? And I wasn't turning it into, I never came in as a criminal trial. I came in with a notice of claim that, as I was writing it, became like a mystery. I felt at one point like I was writing a mystery story because of the evidence that was materializing as I was putting together the paperwork, and then having to write down what that paperwork was. And therefore it became a mystery, but it was easy enough to solve key points that could be isolated down to the Criminal Code of Canada, to where investigations could occur. And you could definitely gather up more information to confirm and cross-reference what my allegations were against the corporations, more than one. That in itself is something that the judge could have ordered to happen. He could have invited the Attorney General to the table, and they could have created their own investigation without me having to send Andrew's factum to them. But when one door closes, another door opens. Right? Yeah. So it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm reading this. So anyway, as I'm sitting here, thinking who I'm going to send what to, I have these things that I made in 2005. For those who watch my videos will remember these. Right, that's one. And here's the other one. You see? Okay. Isn't that just lovely? Okay. It's just filled with information. And it falls under the New Nations Unity Community and World Encyclopedia. Local and International Educational Youth Initiative. That's what I had in mind when I created it, because I was required to create programs, and I thought this would be a great program to get kids to begin to read more and to get people involved in their local community, right, in terms of the different issues that go on as a whole, right? So I broke it up into sections, right? And it all pre-aligns with the trust accounts that I have. Do you see? Right? what I'm going to do, because I have a couple sets still kicking around, right? I am going to hand this over to somebody. I just haven't determined which somebody should get that, and I'll probably send out another set of those. I have 2 sets of the encyclopedias, so probably that would be good for the premier of this province, because back in the day in 2005, you know, even though my life circumstances weren't the greatest in terms of living in that shanty shack, I still had a lot of hope for this province and for the initiatives that I was working on, right? And anyway, that's all I gotta say right now.